All right, thank you everyone for joining today's live. We've got a special guest, LiahLou, a creator based in Germany. Leah, can you share a little bit about yourself and how you got started as content creator?
Sure. Yes, as she said, I'm LiahLou. I'm based in Germany, and I started like 7 or 8 years ago. Um, it was a kind of weird way into the industry. I started as a go-go dancer, then I went on to then I went to become a stripper. And when I was a stripper, I met girls who were like cam girls. And I was like, okay, when you do it on the weekends, like do it during the week. So I became a cam girl. And from becoming a cam girl, I started doing clips. And yes, this is the way like I got into it.
Cool. So, yeah, I mean, I feel like it depends on the creator, but creators who are kind of getting into the business now don't have the same experience of doing the work in person. So, what has it been like to transition from in person to, are you completely online now?
I am completely online now, yes. But to be honest, I miss the stripping already. Um, it depends. I mean, I know creators who say I could never do it in real life, like look into the client's eyes and like have the real interaction. And then there are girls who are work do like have real life clients and they say I could never do it online because I don't know who's behind the person that I'm interacting with. But I think it helped me a lot because I I have when I was a stripper, I met so many different people, and you learn much about them when you interact with them in real life. And this helps me online, but especially because I had to learn to not take things personally from real people
Yeah.
and online. So I even learned that. So I don't have any problems with that online. But on the other side, online helps me to get a distance. You don't you don't remember like their faces when they're mean or something. And I've built like very strong and long relationships with online clients during the years. I've never done that with clients in real life. So
Yeah,
very different work.
definitely. Yeah, it is interesting how the online work has become a lot more connection based because yeah, I guess when you're stripping, you can have people come in and you engage with them for a short amount of time and then it's probably like a quick turnover rate, but a huge portion of building your fan base online and keeping a loyal fan base that follows you for years has so much to do with the relationship. So it's really interesting. Um,
Yes, especially because I think, I mean, at a strip club, like clients, they drank alcohol, they were there with friends or something. But like there weren't many people who came and you built a relationship because you felt like they were real or they wanted to build. The most people came there for fun or something. But online, I mean, people have the protection that
mhm.
because they're anonymous and they feel like they can talk to you about their stuff. And I mean, when I was a stripper, I mostly like dealt with dealt with drunk people. So it's very different, but it was fun though. It was fun though. I mean, honestly, I think the thing I miss the most is like performing. This is what I miss the most. Like on a stage with like feedback and engaging with your audience. This is like um the most satisfying for me. But online offers like many more possibilities to interact and to also distance yourself from things.
So then if now obviously the work is a lot different, how would you say you transitioned from stripping into the content that you make? Because what kind of, how would you describe the content that you make now?
Oh, that was a hard journey for me because when I was camming, I wasn't allowed to use music because it's not allowed in Germany for reasons. Um, and the cam girl thing, it's more about it was much more hardcore. I wasn't camming on a freemium site, but the users came and paid per minute.
Okay.
So they wanted to show immediately. And I I was a performer. Like I did like sexy dance moves with music and oil and whatever. And I struggled to combine my aesthetics with porn.
Right.
Like I didn't know how to. I felt weird, and it took me like 6 or 8 months to find a way how to feel sexy and don't look like I was very insecure, but these were not the moves I I I thought I maybe like strip down my clothes and like just look like a bit sexy, but that wasn't what the people wanted to see, especially some fetishes are not very like you don't feel good in a I don't know, raincoat or whatever.
Yeah.
So and now I try to I have definitely definitely found my type of content I want to create, I feel good with. And I have a mix between I still love to shoot very aesthetic content. Like I do striptease, I dance to music, I like my costumes, my pleaser shoes, I dance on a pole or um take nice pictures and lights and but also I do the very private stuff because I know people like it and I feel very comfortable to share it with them now. Like just a cell phone and just like yes, very natural content. So I have a mix of both right now.
Yeah, I think that that's an interesting point that you bring up, talking about the decision to go online and make content and knowing that there's certain aspects of yourself that you like to express and then getting into the space where people are making requests from you or for you and having that progression of figuring out what kind of content you want to make, what you feel comfortable with, what's authentic for you. It's a huge learning period, I guess, because it's one of those things where I think that creators feel a lot of pressure to make the kind of content that they think people want to see.
Yes. Yes.
And do you have any advice for creators who are maybe feeling that pressure and feeling like the only way that they can grow is if they do what people want, but then that's not really what would be true for them? How would you suggest creators find what's right for them?
Yeah, I've been at the same point. I saw girls were successful with stuff that I didn't see myself doing doing it. So I think, I mean, in our industry, there's a niche for everything, and everyone, every body type, every type of content, every fetish, every niche, everything has an audience. Like,
Mhm.
and it's just, it's very, very important for your mental health and your physical health to do only what you feel comfortable with. I know the pressure is, especially when you're camming or when you do a lot of custom content, and that's what you make your money from, that you have requests you don't feel comfortable with. I have requests where I thought people only ask me that to make me look ridiculous or something. I don't know. But it's very important to like take a second and ask like yourself, is it okay for me that this piece of content will be online forever? That this piece of content will yeah, will be seen by someone. So, and no worries because, as I said, there's market for everything in our niche, in our industry, and that's like the great part of it, and that's what I really like. But don't don't feel yourself like pushed into something you don't want to.
Exactly. Yeah, especially now as the industry moves into a more modern and ethically concerned space, it's really important that we talk about the fact that that pressure is still there, even though there's a lot of creators who are talking about how, we as creators, you have the power to make decisions for yourself. You can be your own advocate, and there is still this energy, and you are going to encounter people who are still set in that old mindset of the fact that content creators are just here to serve what the masses want, and that's not the case at all. And I mean, it's really interesting. There's a lot of like well-known people, like musicians and celebrities who are starting to talk about these platforms and talking about how um, these spaces are meant to be a place where human beings can like have the say and how they choose to express and share their body. And still there is this kind of like underlying portion that is very real, where there's going to be people who are asking for things, and I think it's really important to continue to remind each other that this is a space for the creators to decide. And
Yeah, definitely, because I mean the places still exist. There's still places in our industry where girls are or boys too, I don't know, are pushed into things they don't really want to do. And
mhm,
there's still some advocates, like former creators or actresses or something who claim that, who say I've been pushed into something, and this is not good for our industry. And sometimes, I mean, it was like 2 weeks ago, I saw a documentary about former sex workers who were all against sex work, like completely. And um, these places still exist, and it's important to talk about it and to prevent that. But we have to see that on the other side, we have places like Fancentro, Central where creators are protected, where creators can decide and get like way more sharing and way more money and like their own bosses. But this is another thing I see, like the online sex work and the platforms now. There's so many new creators. I
mhm,
mean, I come from the industry originally. Like I've been a stripper before, and I was a cam girl and did clips before there was Fancentro on all these platforms. Like, and now so many non-sex workers got into the industry.
yeah,
And I mean, I waited like I think 4 years from camming to doing my first hardcore clip. And I needed that time to really think about it. I mean, I'd been on the sites every day and saw like my colleagues doing the clips and making money of it. And I waited 4 years because I wanted to make sure that I wanted to do it like 100% and wanted to have a vision what kind of clips, where, and like when I do it, like will I like how much money do I want to have with it? Like all that. And if I had started with like 20 years going to like onto Fancentro or any other platform, do custom stuff, I don't know um if that would have been right for me
mhm,
because I needed my time to reflect. And now this is the thing I see that a lot of girls like they subscribed or joined a platform and thought, okay, this is good money and do things. And I don't know if they really reflect that this is forever and Yes.
Yeah, and especially too if it's something that's going to be sustainable and seen as something that you can do as a career for a while, that you're going to feel good about, and you're going to continue to feel even better and more proud of. It has to start from this place of, like what you're saying, sitting with yourself, checking in with yourself, and not looking at anything else or what anyone else has to say or anyone thinks what they're doing, but to really just look within and make make your own decisions fully. It is one of those things too where, especially with like the boom of popularity and these clickbait like YouTube videos and articles about I mean, there are these crazy stories of people who just like make a shit ton of money in a really short amount of time, and then that's attractive to people. They're like, oh, it's there are all these like shiny parts to the job, but it is a serious space and one to definitely be taken with care and
Yes,
intention.
absolutely. Yes.
Yeah. Super interesting to hear your perspective about all of this. So then, of course, we also wanted to talk to you about some of the like practical sides of being a content creator. And something that we have been thinking a lot about is, of course, we talk about social media all the time, and the social media spaces are changing constantly. And
Yeah.
even though it's kind of like the main source of traffic, it's also, these are the spaces that don't want sex workers to be staying present, and they're not supportive. And so it can be a whole season of trial and error and frustration. Um, and one time we made a meme about TikTok and about
Yeah.
how many times, the ridiculous amount of times that creators have to make new accounts because of getting their accounts taken down. So we wanted to talk to you because you seem to be doing a really good job on TikTok and seem like you have a lot of fun with it. So what would you say your relationship is to that platform for promotion?
Well, TikTok, TikTok is great because the exposure, like so many people will see you without following you or something. Um, I found my way to be safe on TikTok. Like I got banned one or two times before, and but now I figured out a way, and I don't like there are many girls trying to like every TikTok has to implicate that they're a sex worker and that they have an account here or there. And I think just act like a normal TikTok person. Like just do fun stuff, just do whatever. Like people will see you, will like you. The algorithm will push you because your content is just like friendly for everyone. And I mean, link anything or something, and it will find you anyway. But don't force to tell people in every TikTok that you're a sex worker. It's not necessary. And yes, it's a good way. On the other hand, there are very many very young people,
Mm-hmm.
so you have to keep that in mind. And yeah, but it's fun. It has so many options, so many possibility. But my relationship to TikTok is kind of two-faced because I like it because of the exposure and all that. But on the other hand, it's a rabbit hole. Like I can waste so much time on TikTok, and I really have to take care of that. But yeah,
Yeah, that's the thing. It's crazy because you could go onto an app that you're going to use to make a video to promote yourself, and then like it's built to
Yeah.
pull you in, which can be one of the most difficult things with running a business that relies on social media, is that you can
Yes.
definitely get trapped.
Yeah, I have time limits on all my social media apps. So I get a notification, so you spend so much time on Instagram and TikTok today, like it's good because um I mean everyone knows that, especially TikTok. I think TikTok is worse, and Twitter is my guilty pleasure. Like I can spend hours on Twitter. So, but I have time limits now because I forget the time, like every other person. So I mean that's their product. So
Yeah, yeah, they do a good job. That's a really good boundary to set, and it's something simple to make sure that you're, um, yeah, just being mindful of your usage and making sure that you see it as a tool. I mean, it's also one of those things where it's good to have it as like this business tool, but then also to be able to enjoy it as a normal person for like here and there.
yeah, sure.
Um, so then when you're saying that you engage with it like anyone else would, you're just kind of going with the flow of content. Do you pay much attention to trends or hashtags? Like, is that important to you for your growth?
To be honest, I don't really know if and how hashtags work on TikTok. I use the hashtags almost everyone use. I don't really know if that makes a difference. Like sometimes I use content related hashtags. Like I mean, um for example, I do a TikTok about dating. I do like hashtag dating or something. But I don't do any sex work related hashtags.
Right.
And as I say, I mean, people like users, they subscribe to your content not because you're the only person being nude online, but because they like you as a person, because they like think you're interesting, and you can just show your personality on TikTok. So I don't work with hashtags. I don't. I go with trends because I need to find my I need like inspiration,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't really look for trends and hop on only when I like it. Like when I think, oh cool, that's fun. But I don't force it because I've tried it sometimes, but it didn't really work. I think there's so many users on TikTok,
Yeah.
and I always feel like okay, it's just like you can hop on a trend, but that won't work. But only if I like it. Like when I like it, then I do it.
It seems like that's a good way to go about making a video that actually shows your personality and that you're having fun with, because uh, I've I've seen sometimes where people talk about, going with the trends and being like, okay, these are the sounds that are just new to the trending scene, so we need to jump on them, and they spend like an hour trying to think of what kind of
Yeah, no
video to
way.
make with it, and then it's just like a waste of time. And yeah, yeah, it's cool when you can. I mean, there's a lot of people that get really analytical about the different platforms and it works for them. But most of the
Sure.
time, it seems like the platforms, while they are very algorithm based, they are created to appeal to people, and it's exactly what you're saying. Like, what do people find attractive about people? It's like it's something that you can't really put into words. It's just like an energetic authenticity thing.
Yeah, and I think the algorithm doesn't work like, oh, we will show you a lot of trends, but we will show you mm, TikToks you like based on the things you liked before. I mean, that's how the algorithm works. So
Yeah.
I don't need to hop on a trend to be exposed to an audience that likes stuff that's like similar to mine. Like,
Yeah.
so no, I don't. When I started TikTok, I was like, oh my gosh, you have to do all the transitions and the outfit trends and all that. And I stopped it at some point because it's so much work. I mean, it's awesome. It's fun sometimes, but the people doing it and being successful with it, they don't do anything else. Like TikTok is their job or their
Yeah.
main business. So and I don't have time for that to like the transition things and all that. Like it's fun sometimes, but I mean I spend sometimes like an hour or something for one TikTok, and that wasn't worth it. So um and I found out that it doesn't have to be like transitions and all that stuff. Rather do two TikToks a day where you just sit there in your outfit and do something funny or whatever, but you don't have to do these transition things or whatever. It's not necessary. I think it it's rather more TikToks that aren't so, so special than one special TikTok a week.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. It's a good point too that you bring up about a lot of the popular accounts that have a lot of growth. They're all people who are doing TikTok as their job, like their full-time
Yeah.
job.
Mhm.
And the content that they're posting that's doing really well is talking about how to grow on TikTok.
Yes.
And so it's like, of
It's
course, people are
crazy. It's crazy. That's the same with business coaches. Like business coaches mostly don't have a business because their business is business coaching. So that's so funny. But I see that on TikTok, like how to grow, how to do transitions, how to do this trend and all that. It's crazy. Yeah, it's it's
yeah,
a
it's
business too, but yes.
something that I wanted to ask you that kind of relates to what you're just mentioning about how exhausting it can be with all the content that you have to make because it's, you know, you're a content creator for your sites. And this, you create content that you're going to get paid for. But on top of that, there's all this content that you have to make that's safe for work for the different platforms. And sometimes people feel the pressure to have different content on the different platforms so that, people will follow you everywhere and they feel like they're entertained, there's something interesting. It's a huge like attention economy and it can be exhausting. And we wanted to ask you, how do you deal with burnout? Like how do you take care of your mental health and um yeah, recharge?
Um, yeah, this was a long way, a long journey for me because I came from doing four videos a month and just like stream whenever I want to all this content what you just said. And the first thing that really helps me to stay focused and healthy is that I feel like I have control over everything. And I really have a beast of content organizers and I have Google Sheets, and this is literally like the most important for me because I know I have an overview of everything what I have, where I post it, when did I record it, what do I have to record, which customs are in line, and all that. And this is the first thing I need to feel okay. Like when when I say, okay, it's good for today, I go to bed, I can have a good sleep because I know nothing gets lost and everything is in place. So, but what is really important, you can, and I still have that sometimes that I sit on my laptop and I do some work. For example, I schedule or do a post production or something. I could do it. I lose myself in work. Like I can't stop and until I fall asleep. And this is pretty important. You have to um this job is like a normal job. Like do like have working hours. Like
Mm.
okay, I wake up in the morning. I mean, I also like go to university. I still study, but like I say, okay, from 10 to 12, I do this, I work on my to-do list, and then I go walk the dog, have lunch, go to uni, I come back and I, quit at 8 p.m. or something. Then
Yeah.
it's good. Then I go meet friends or watch Netflix or whatever. And this is the most important, like don't lose yourself in work because the thing is you get crazy because you think every second you're online, you can make money and you can get addicted to that.
Mm,
Like that you think when you know, when you shut down everything and you don't respond to your users, you feel like, okay, maybe something I'm missing. Maybe, there are $100 that I can make right now. And this is what I was trained from my former boss when I was a stripper. When I said I want to have this weekend off, I need it for myself. He said, "What do you want to do? Like sitting on a couch? Like rather come here and make money. Like this is how I was raised in that job." And I was like, "Yeah, he's right. Like why sit on the couch and like watch TV when I can make money?" But this is so wrong because then and I had that. I had a 6 month break from everything because I said I have to reset everything
mhm,
because I couldn't deal with all that anymore. I was getting sick because I thought when I felt like I can't right now, I need to lay down, just like do nothing. I blamed myself for it because I said, why you're laying here on the couch when there's money to make online?
oh,
Because there's always money to make online. There's always someone online. There's always someone watching. Why are you not like posting on Instagram today? Because every story view is a potential client and all that. And I was blaming myself for that because I was like, are you too lazy for that? I mean, look at other girls. They're making more money. They're doing this. And this was making me sick. And yes, and I took a 6 month break and said, like, okay, I go offline, I don't do anything, and I reset my mind so I can focus again and set goals that are right for me. You
mhm,
know, I know there are girls that are making 50K a month or something, but this is not my goal because I'm not willing to dedicate my whole life to that or that much time or whatever or what they do. I don't know. But I want to do my uni. I want to do meet my friends. I want to like spend time with my dog. And I'm like, it's really important to set goals. Like, what do you really need in life? Because it's not for me. It's not only money. It's not I really want 20K in my life. For me, it's I want good money. How much is it? What do I have to do for it? And is that still okay for me? So,
mhm.
and besides that, I can do everything else. And yes, and it's really hard to not compare because so many creators are like, yeah, I don't know, 0.1% creator here. I make 50K a month here. I make this. And you're always like, what are they doing what I don't do? Like, why am I not like super successful? But this is totally wrong because you can't compare yourself. You don't know what they do, if they have a team, if they have an agency. You don't know how many time they spend into this. You don't know that, and so this makes a lot of pressure. I think that especially on Twitter, like so many creators like post their how's it called, like their overviews of their payments and all that. And
Mhm.
I know that they want to help or whatever. I know they don't want to brag or something, but um it puts pressure on girls because they wonder if they doing something wrong or something. And that's not true. It's just like everyone has a different work-life balance and everyone has different goals and needs in life.
Exactly. It's 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 a lot to think about, especially with how saturated the market is.
Yes.
And the fact too that, you know, I mean, I think that maybe there has to be a change in the way that we approach talking about the successes that come from specific stories, because it's exactly what you're saying. There's so many hidden factors about how someone gets where you see that they are on the surface. And I mean, you're asking yourself these questions of, okay, this is the goal, and then working back and registering what are the sacrifices I need to make to get to this goal? How much energy do I need to pour into it? What's like, there's a friend that I have that talks about how for every thing you say yes to, you have to say no to other things. So it's like,
Yes.
for one thing to succeed, other things have to suffer. It's just a natural consequence. And the suffering of other things doesn't necessarily have to be bad things. Like, you know, it's not necessarily the binary of one thing is better than the other, but you really do have to sit with yourself and ask, okay, this is where I want to be. And then these are the actual steps and time that it'll take me to get there. And this is what I have to say no to. Do I still want that goal? Do I want to reduce it? How can I make it something that I actually am okay with? And it's really cool to hear that you have given yourself the processing time and have had these like honest conversations. And I mean, it's not easy, especially with when you talk about comparison. That's one of the hardest things to deal with in life, no matter what industry you're in or um, what area of life you're talking about. There's
Yes.
all these really big questions about um, why we're in certain situations when other people are in maybe a situation that we see as more desirable.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And it's yeah, that's the hard, especially because we're in an industry like that's very sensitive. I mean, we we get judged our bodies and all that. And I mean, girls or people in general tend to be insecure, and this comparison can be hurtful. Like, when you see someone and you know that there are people out there who make 20K a month, and you wonder if you're not that pretty or your content is not that good or whatever, especially when you didn't really grow into the industry, especially like I did, because I had that whole comparison thing already when I was a stripper and had to learn that there's not like the one girl, and that's that everyone likes. You have to become like that. I already learned that there will always be people who like you and who don't like you, and there will always be people who are more successful or less successful. But that's I think is another thing, and another point I have been that one girl says TikTok is the key, the other girl says Reddit is the key. And then you see someone being super successful on Twitter. And then you see someone working a lot with free trials. And then you see someone, and there are like 1,000 strategies. And every day you are confronted with a new strategy, and you're like, oh, I'm going to try this. I'm going to try that. I'm going to try that. And you think like when they're successful with it, then this is the way to get there where she is. But that doesn't work, especially because then you get to that point where you do a lot of things, but none of it is consistent.
Right.
So, and it's so important to find a way to say, okay, you know what? I like TikTok. I'm gonna put much more energy in TikTok than in other stuff. But that's the thing. I mean, I know girls, they don't even have Instagram or something, and they only like they have a huge audience only from Reddit. And I hate Reddit. So, but I was like, I have to do Reddit because other girls they have their clients from Reddit, so there's so much potential. I need to do Reddit. And I spent hours and days on Reddit, and I hated it so much. But this is another thing. Like I had to find out, like, don't, I mean, it's always good to have inspiration. And then there are like so many coaches. And I mean, I like that girls, they talk and I try this and that's good. That's not good. But there are like 1,000 ways. There's not that one secret. But you feel like, okay, she's like, she makes 30K a month. She knows how it works. So I'm going to try this the same way. But it doesn't mean that it works for you. And this is really important. Like focus on one or two or maybe three platforms and put your energy, like your marketing funnels and channels, but don't switch because today you see she's doing this. Okay, I'm doing this for a week and then this and this, because everything needs to grow. No matter which way you choose, everything needs to grow and you need to do it for a while. And yes, I mean, I'm a very impatient person, so but I'm always excited to see, oh wow, that's a good way how she does it, and I want to try too. But when it doesn't work, like after 2 weeks, I'm like, ah, okay, that's shit. But that's the same thing. Like, go one step back and like listen to yourself, ask yourself, what brings me joy? Like, do I like TikTok? Do I enjoy Twitter? Do I like where do I enjoy doing that content, spending time on that platform because you're confronted with the users on that platform and all that. Like, and that will bring you more success than trying to copy other ways and find a new thing every week. So
Yeah, that's such a good point. Even if you think of the the metaphor of when you are growing a garden or if you're planting something and like let's say you plant um, three tomato bushes and then you see that your neighbor has watermelon or something and it's like you still have your tomato plants and they were doing really well and whatever and then you go and you like plant these fucking watermelon crops and then everything that you've been working on is neglected and then you're trying to juggle all of these things and there's just not enough resource. I mean, kind of a silly example,
yeah,
but it's so
yeah,
true.
but
And
that's
and
how
that's
it
the
is.
thing that I've been hearing is maybe the only thing that people can look at as this is the true way is consistency. It's not a platform.
That's the key.
It's not, yeah, it's just
You
showing
want,
up.
yes, you won't gain a lot of followers or subscribers when you're on Reddit for 2 weeks because I mean they get excited to see you, but if you don't like post constantly and that, as you say, that's important for every platform or any way um you promote yourself. But also on the platforms like um because the algorithm needs to know that you're still alive. So you need to be, upload your stuff every week, like no matter what is. So yes, and pre-made content is another thing. So very important when you get sick or have accent phases. Or that's another thing because this job is something you're not good at when you don't feel well, like when you have mental struggles. And I see so many girls on platforms who say, and I had that too, to say, hey, I'm sorry, I was away for 3 weeks because I had a private struggle or something. And I mean, that's natural, that's human, and it's a hard job to do or to deal with when you have, it's not just sitting in an office and say like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
It's, you have to interact and you have to impersonate something or someone. So it's very good to always know I have something in the bag. And when I need a break for 2 weeks, I can schedule or I have someone who can help me out. Like for example, I have people when I say, hey, I have 5 days, I have to learn or I don't feel well, to say, hey, it's okay. We take a look over the platform if everything that you have scheduled goes online, so it'll just be fine. And I think that's important to have something, to always have something in the line to or in the back to yes,
Yeah.
overcome these times or something. When you, yes, when something goes wrong, you realize.
Yeah, especially that's when you're your own boss. You and you if you build your success so that you're the only one who can contribute to the furthering of things, then that's a lot of pressure. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you don't feel like you can take time off or you can have these natural moments of needing to rest and needing to look out for yourself, or even just being able to say, I want to go for a week and just be with myself
Yes.
and disconnect just because I want to, just because I deserve to. So for some people who maybe wouldn't be comfortable with completely taking that week off, it's so good what you recommended to have backup content so that you can
Yes.
backup content and also at least someone that you really trust to help support the overseeing of making sure that it all goes well so that you really can disconnect and not worry. And because that's the worst thing is when you try to take a break but you spend the whole time feeling guilty, kind of like what you were saying before, of like you feel guilty about it, or and then you're not really resting, you're not disconnecting, and then it's like you might
Yeah,
as well not.
exactly. And I made the experience that your clients understand that. I mean, you can send out. I mean, I had a surgery a while ago, and I said like, "Hey guys, I'm sorry, I'll be offline for 5 days, but I've pre-scheduled something, and here's a little free clip for like, and there's no one who said like, what's wrong with you? Everyone was like, hey, get well soon, and they were really nice. So I think that's another thing. You don't have to feel like that your clients are not that they don't understand if you say like, hey, I need 5 days off for whatever reason. Like send them a little gift or a little freebie so and they're happy. So it's much easier than you think to yes, to just take a time off, or maybe only a weekend, or maybe just one day. I have a friend, she has one day off a week, and all her clients know that, and she's not available that day, and that's fine for her. So I think that's very important. Yes.
Yeah, just to know and look out for your future self. It's very
Yeah,
important.
definitely. Definitely.
Okay, well, it looks like it's been quite a long time that we've been talking. It's been such a lovely conversation, and I
Yeah.
really appreciate you sharing about your story and all of the things that you've learned. And it seems like you have a really good relationship with the work that you do, and I think that that's kind of the best information that you could offer anyone, is just kind of people learning from your example of really approaching the work from a perspective of self-care and prioritizing, uh,
Yes. Yes. Yes.
making sure that you're doing work that you feel good about. So thank you so much.
Yeah. You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Cool. Okay. Well, and then if anyone wants to find you, what are some of your social media accounts so that maybe people can reach out with questions or even just find your accounts?
Yes, it's like Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. It's all it's LiahLou.
Cool. Awesome.
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Thank
Well,
you.
we'll see
Bye.
you later.